Welcome to the Lead with Impact podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have Demetra Moore. She is the founder of More Out of Life. How are you feeling today?
Good, Michael. Thank you, first of all, for having me.
Appreciate it. I've been hearing about the great work that you've been doing. You've been working with a lot of great businesses, NASA, Google, Salesforce. And I said, the leaders who are suffering from burnout, they can learn a few nuggets from you. So the first question for you is, what does burnout look like? And have you seen it in another leader before?
I see it every day.
Every day.
Every day. And what burnout looks like is a sense of restlessness, right? And people probably think those two words don't go together, but they do. Because people who are burnout typically don't know how to rest. So they keep pushing themselves to that next goal. There's never a moment to say, wait a minute, maybe I need to look at my self-care. Maybe I need to look at the way I'm feeling, the way that I'm thinking and showing up to the group right now. Maybe I need to look at my attitude, right? Am I mostly negative? Am I not sleeping well? Am I
real leaders making impact? CEO leaders making impact. Great leaders making impact. Listen up to make a real impact. It's a real game changer if you want to lead. Real leaders break it down like this.
not eating properly? And the other thing I'll think about is, am I getting proper exercise? And I don't mean like you have to go to the gym, right, every day, but can we go for a walk? Can we walk to get our cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Can we do those types of things to give yourself a moment to get outside, Michael, to get some sunshine? Just the little things that we need to give ourselves those quiet moments so we can think clearly and really take some, I call them sunshine breaths, right? Where you can take it all in and just sit and give yourself some quiet time.
I like that. Sunshine breaths. It's so valuable. I was in a stressful situation and I realized if I just got up from my desk and just took a walk and left the desk, those 5-10 minutes made all the difference. How did you learn about the sunshine breath?
Because I was the person that was vitamin D deficient. I never went outside. And when your doctor tells you you are vitamin D deficient, and Michael, I actually had a prescription for it. And she was like, you will do better if you get outside. So I started going outside. I would walk to the mailbox. I would walk to take my trash. And I started doing that. And I was like, well, let me just take in some deep breaths and really feel the sun on my face. And I noticed, to your point, it made me feel better, right? Like something about that vitamin D, natural vitamin D, outside and taking it in without the computer in your face, right? You tend to feel better. And I think because we work so much, we take that for granted.
I agree. I equate it with something I've been saying lately is that a dead battery is not good to anybody. A dead phone battery can't help you. You can't make phone calls. And nowadays, people only remember the number to 2 people. That's it, right? They lost it. That battery dies. They are done. And so the sunlight is recharging you. It's recharging you, giving you energy to be able to charge others around you.
Absolutely.
And people that you've seen that are burnt out, how long does it take them to actually identify the signs and symptoms?
I think that comes along with them being open to self-awareness. I was speaking to a client a couple of weeks ago, and this person talked about their health, their ability to actually eat. They weren't eating properly. This person was suffering from hair loss. And a lot of that, they mentioned that the volume of stress at work, 10, 12-hour days, and not eating anything beyond some chips or something of that sort, right? Your body can't thrive off of that.
It can't.
And this person showed up to work every single day, and it was to the point where they couldn't sleep, could barely get up in the mornings. They had a lot of brain fog. And the more I talk with this person, I asked, when do you believe burnout shows up for you?
Ooh, that's deep. How did they respond to that? That's a deep question.
It was deer in the headlights, of course. And we began to unpack that. And this person said, I think I'm already there.
That's deep. That's emotional too. That's emotional when somebody who is burnt out and they've been in denial, they're showing all the symptoms, but when they finally admit it, that's when they're able to take action.
Right, right.
What are some of the tools and strategies that either you've seen or implemented that helps a leader avoid burnout or to recover from burnout?
Well, one of my favorite tools that I use is I use the positive intelligence saboteur assessment. And that is one way to see how you're showing up. And it tells if you are, avoiding, or maybe you are trying to be a controller, quote unquote, where you want to control everything around you. And nevertheless, the assessment goes in to list all of the saboteurs that show up when you're in that space of not being productive. And that is one. And every person I've done that assessment with, Michael, they were like, oh my gosh, this is me.
That's them.
Yeah, I spoke with the client this morning, and this person said, well, wow. I mean, I've done leadership training before, but not like this. I said, well, we're not doing leadership training. We're doing leader training.
Can you pause on that one? That's a revelation that has hit me. And I feel like there's a big gap that people who are burnt out and stressed, they think they're okay because they went to some leadership training, right? They went to some leadership training. And we know that leadership training is general techniques, general strategy, but it's not real. It's not the real thing, right? It's not applicable to that person's situation, working environment. And so they need a unique set of tools and resources to help them.
Right. And I call that leader development, right? Because the leader is the person that's going to show up in the leadership role. If you don't develop a leader, then you're not getting what you
CEO leaders making impact. Leaders making impact. Listen up to make a real impact. It's a real game changer if you want to lead. Real leaders break it down like this. Here we go, making impact. You know you want to be that. Make that money and put it in the bag. Stack it up and make it. But you gotta be it.
You're not going to get anywhere.
Making impact. You know you wanna be that. Make that money and put it in the bag. Stack it up to make it. But you gotta be it.
But it's a one-size-fit.
I know you're the best, and you're better than the rest. But when you get the job, make sure you never flop, yo.
That's why there's so many different types of cars that we can buy. You can buy a red car, a white car, you can buy a truck, you can buy a van. People have different needs.
Listen up to make a real impact. It's a real game changer if you wanna lead. Real leaders break it down like this. Here we go, making impact. You know you wanna be that. Make that money and put it in the
Came
bag.
across it.
Stack it up and make it, but you gotta be it.
And it was offering a free scholarship for
Making impact.
6 weeks.
You know you wanna be that. Make that money and put it in the
Signed up
bag.
for it.
Stack it up and make it, but you gotta be it.
So
I know
I
you're
began
the
to try
best,
the two for
better
myself,
than the
and I
rest.
started
And when you
doing
get the
my own
job,
stuff.
make sure you never
My own
flop,
stuff.
yo.
Through this positive intelligence process, I was able to shift my mindset and start to prepare properly to leave corporate America. So that was where I got introduced to it. And then after I left corporate America, of course, now I'm on the
Great
email, right?
leaders
I'm
making
getting emails
impact.
about it, and I
Listen up
decided
to make a real
purchase a
impact.
license.
Real
So now
leaders
every
making
client
impact.
that I work with,
CEO leaders
they
making
get access to the
impact.
positive intelligence app, and it is like having a coach in your pocket
Listen
to
up to make a
constantly
real
remind you,
impact.
right? You're getting
It's a real game changer if you wanna lead.
but they're
Real
going to
leaders
remind
break
you,
it down like
have you
this. Here
done
we
before?
go, making
Mental
impact.
right?
You
Having
know
to
you
check
wanna
into
be
those
that.
types of
Make
things.
that money and
As you
put it in the
mentioned,
bag.
Michael,
Stack
going
it
out
up
for
and make
5-10
it.
minutes
But you
and doing
gotta
what I call
be
the
it.
sunshine breath, right? Those things are helpful.
Making
And
impact.
could you think
You know
about
you
how
wanna be
different your
that.
day would be
Make that money and
for
put it in the
anyone who's
bag.
listening to us
Stack
today?
it up
How
and
different
make
your day
it.
would be if you took
Gotta
5-10
be
minutes
it.
for yourself.
I I
making
agree. I was
impact.
burnt out at
You
one
know you
point in
wanna
time,
be
and I
that.
started
Take
to
the money and
schedule
put it
a
in
15-minute
back.
micro
Stack
break
it up
in
and
my
make it
calendar to
what you
prevent
gotta
someone from
be.
scheduling back-to-back meetings.
Right.
That small shift changed my day. I wasn't
Right.
going from meeting, 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 no lunch, no break, running to the bathroom between meetings, scurrying back to the desk, trying to respond to a direct message, off to another meeting. By putting those micro breaks in, I was able to plan those moments to just enjoy the moment.
Right. And one other tech, you just said something that reminded me of something. I was working with a client some years ago and I asked her, I said, how many times do you get up from your desk a day? She was like, two. And I'm thinking, And I
Wow.
said, total? She was
Yes.
like, yeah. So that tells me a lot about you, right?
Mhm.
That tells me that you're not eating because if you eat, everybody has to go to a bio break.
They
Everybody
have
does,
to,
right?
yes.
Right. And that tells me you're not hydrating because guess what, Michael? Everybody has to go to a bio break.
They all have to go to a bio break.
And she said two times. And I was like, wow. And she told me she had these headaches. You probably got the headaches because you're not hydrated,
Nah,
right?
yeah.
And the more and more we talked, this person had been doing this for a long time. And she went to the doctor for her physical, whatnot. And they said, well, you're dehydrated, you're malnourished, and all of these things. Well, if you only get up from your desk two times a
Yes.
day, you're working 10, 12 hours, you can't be nourishing your body properly.
You can't. And sometimes people are guilty of working during lunch. They would just want to power
Right.
through. And they say, you
Yes.
know what? Let me go ahead and get it done now. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stay late or do it when I get home. Let me just power through and power through. And you go from working 8 hours a day to 9 hours a day to 12 hours a day because you got your phone at home in the morning time. When you wake up at 6 a.m., you're checking it. You get home, you eat dinner, and you're on the phone again until you go to bed. It's putting you to bed, tucking you in bed.
Right. Right. And that was how she described her life. And I was like, no wonder you can't even eat your dinner because you're like powering through work. You didn't eat lunch. You had some crackers or maybe a cup of coffee, but nothing to nourish your body. That's why the headaches came, all of these things. And I want to say after about 2 weeks or a week and a half after her doctor's appointment, they were telling her, you got to hydrate, like you got to drink water, like you got to properly take care of yourself. She shows up to a session and says, man, these headaches sure are gone. Well, your body was saying, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry. Could you feed me?
The signs was there. The body was saying, I need a break. I need water. In order to lead with impact, I need these tools and resources.
Right. And we keep what? As you said, powering through.
Powering through until your battery is flashing red, 5%, 2%. And we're like, is the battery really going to shut down? Can we maximize
Right.
that 1%? We're trying to maximize that 1% because we like, no, there's a backup, it's going to give me another
Right.
10 minutes.
Yeah, until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. That is powerful.
Mhm.
Why? It reminds me so many stories, especially when you manage a lot of people and you got a lot of work to do and everything is, when can you get this done? When can you pay this voucher? When can you get this report done? People feel the pressure to power through.
Right.
But as a leader, if you demonstrate my lunchtime is valuable, others will follow you. As a leader, you have to demonstrate what is more valuable, people's time or the project that's always due. It's always going to be there.
Right. Right. And I think you said something that is so imperative because if you set the precedent, right? Everybody needs to, in your example, take lunch, whatever that time frame is, right? Really making that a priority to take care of yourself, whatever that looks like. People follow suit, but I've encountered so many leaders that are like, do as I say and not as I do. But what do you think? Where do you think they're getting the example from?
Yes, that's emotional. It's touching me because I remember I used to respond to emails nonstop. And then when Google created that schedule, the email where you can go ahead and type up the email, but schedule the send, I wouldn't. I get an email that say I check my email at 7:30. I'll have the response going, but I wouldn't let it go out until 7 a.m. the next day. Because two things. One, I didn't want the person on the other end to respond to it right away. And then I wanted to show my team that, look, here are the core hours that we should be responding and working through. Sometimes, yeah, you're going to go and check your phone just to see what's there, but it also sets the parameters of what type of response your customers are going to expect from you. Because if they get that response back 30 minutes later at 8 o'clock from you, and then somebody sends you something at 9, and then they see a response from you at 9:30, they think you open 24/7.
Right, right. And they're expecting that type of service.
Ooh, expecting that type of service. Indeed, indeed. What's a tool or technique that you can recommend for a leader to be successful so that they can lead with impact?
Would say really taking a moment to work on you as a person. I think there should always be some, and I know some may say personal development, right? Yes, as we spoke about earlier, yes, there's some leadership training, but I think there should be some type of coaching or development that the leader does for themselves. Granted, that may be reading a new book, that may be joining a networking group or organization, whatnot. And you want to position yourself to be around like-minded individuals. And I can't say that enough.
Okay.
There's a book called The Proximity Principle by Ken Coleman. And Ken Coleman talks about the 5 types of people you need in your life to scale overall, right? And I think leaders need to position themselves to being those types of groups. And sometimes, Michael, the sad thing is those groups don't always exist with your group of people. So you may need to create that, which happens with intentionality. You're seeking out the person that you need. And an example of one of those people would be, and of course you heard of this, the mentor. Everybody wants a mentor, right?
Yep.
And that's just one of the 5 people. And another one was the producer, the person who's bringing your name in the rooms when you're not there. When that new project comes up, right? That
Yep.
person's going to say, you know what? Michael did a project similar to that. And I recall him having a great outcome, relating with the client and whatnot. They just tossed your name into a room where decisions are being made. So strategically thinking about who you need in your circle, I think will help every leader. Number one, manage the burnout, right? Because we all experience it to some degree, but better manage that. And I think it would help them have that person where they have, persons where they have accountability, right? In regards to their growth and development. And I think it would help them strive overall in their lives.
Whoa, you unpacked so much there. And I was going to ask you about a book to recommend, and you just recommended one. I can't wait to read that one. I know the listeners can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it will definitely change your career and your trajectory.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For those people who want to know more about your business, how you help them, elaborate. Who do you help? What's some of the success stories that you've been able to help leaders who are burnt out, or people who are not focused, leaders who are struggling to lead at the high potential?
Sure. Well, first of all, people could reach me. You can go to my website. It's More Out of Life. And my last name is Moore. So it's Moore outoflife.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. Of course, my name is Demetra, as Michael alluded to earlier. So Demetra Moore, and I think it's on LinkedIn as Coach Demetra Moore. And you'll know me, guys. I have the red hair and a green blazer. It is not hard to find. And as for the audience of people that I typically work with, is usually business to business. Now, I have been working with some individuals, and those came by referrals, Michael. Someone working at an organization told their friend.
Yeah.
So I have gotten some, one-on-one sessions that way. And I'm a coach educator. So if you're in the Atlanta area and you're taking some coach training courses, you might just see me one weekend facilitating some workshops. And I work with the Academy of Creative Coaching. So I love it there. And I'm trying to think anything else people should know. You said success stories. I just recently got a testimonial from a client, Michael, who was definitely burnt out.
Okay.
His mother-in-law had passed away. This guy was still working.
Whoa.
And his wife, of course, took it really hard. They had a little one. I want to say the little one was maybe 2 years old. So to lose a parent and you have a little one and they don't, they never stop, right?
Uh-huh.
This person was nervous about taking off work and felt as if he took off work, he would be failing,
Yikes.
letting the company down. So he would work at night while his family was asleep.
Okay.
And the next day, guess what? You got a 2-year-old. You don't get a nap. You
You
know?
don't. They just like, hey, hey, are you woke? Got the eye? Are you?
That started to get the best of him. And he and I talked about the burnout, what that felt like, the brain fog and all of that. And he began to see the error of his ways. And he sent me a message recently saying that the stories he told himself about he has to continue to work all these hours to prove he's worthy and so forth. He's better dealing with them. And this person just got promoted. So that made me happy to see that he began to manage that so he could actually scale properly versus, sacrificing his mental stability, and not to mention the time that you have to, give to a 2-year-old. They like, you and
Yes.
I said, they
Yes.
don't stop. So
No.
yeah, and he
They
said
like
he's
the
been able to.
Energizer Bunny. They just keep going
Yeah.
and going and going.
He said he's been able to read stories at night versus working. He's been able to get up and then have, well, I guess it would be breakfast, but to really, really help get the kid off to daycare and that kind of thing. So he feels really good about where he is in his life. And those types of stories just bring me so much joy.
That is amazing. Y'all heard it first. The founder of More Out of Life. This has been an incredible session. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and comment. And make sure you reach out to Demetra on LinkedIn. Let her know how much you enjoyed this episode. That's our time today.